So our first concern, of course, is the restoration of civilian leadership in Burma. Our concern, consistent with that, is ensuring that as we undertake this review, now that we have determined that a coup has taken place on February 1st, the civilian-led government has been deposed by the military. The United States is deeply concerned by the Burmese military's detention of civilian government leaders, including State Councilor Aung San Suu Kyi and civil society leaders. After a review of all the facts, we have assessed that the Burmese military's actions on February 1st, having deposed the duly elected head of government, constituted a military coup d'etat. The United States will continue to work closely with our partners throughout the region and the world to support respect for democracy and the rule of law in Burma, as well as to promote accountability for those responsible for overturning Burma's democratic transition. When it comes to Burma, I don't think the military takeover, the military coup, is in the interest. It's certainly not in our interest. It's certainly not in the interest of our like-minded partners. I think you will also find that it's not in the interest of the Chinese. So our first concern, of course, is the restoration of civilian leadership in Burma. Our concern, consistent with that, is ensuring that as we undertake this review, now that we have determined that a coup has taken place on February 1st, the civilian-led government has been deposed by the military, our first concern as we do that review will be to ensure that of the $135 million we contribute annually to the people of Burma, that we don't do anything that would affect the long-suffering people of Burma, including the Rohingya. When it comes to additional sanctions against the Burmese military, as President Biden has said, the United States will take action against those responsible, including through a careful review of our current sanctions posture.
Myanmar's military should immediately and unconditionally release Aung San Suu Kyi, senior government officials, and others unlawfully detained. The military's actions show utter disdain for the democratic elections held in November and the right of Myanmar's people to choose their own government. Myanmar's military should immediately and unconditionally release Aung San Suu Kyi, senior government officials, and others unlawfully detained. The military's actions show utter disdain for the democratic elections held in November and the right of Myanmar's people to choose their own government. We are especially concerned for the safety and security of activists and other critics of the military who've been taken into custody. The military should recognize that it will be held accountable for its actions, including any mistreatment in custody or excessive use of force. We are concerned and we urge concerned governments around the world to speak out forcefully against the military's actions and consider targeted sanctions against those responsible. It's an absolutely military coup. There's no reason for a state of emergency to be declared. This is a manufactured crisis by the Burmese military. Anybody who claims that there was a real state of emergency to justify this action is frankly on the military side. It's quite clearly something where, there's a military coup. They're going to try to dress it up in the Constitution, but that Constitution is undemocratic to start with. And our view is that that argument holds no water.